Welcome to the Secret Underground Laboratory Recovery and Salvage, where rude mechanicals do magic. Hello, I'm Bronze Age, Director of the Secret Underground Laboratory Recovery and Salvage. And this episode of Chair Hospital is about the Princess Bride's chair. Anyone familiar with the movie will remember the part about where the Dread Pirate Roberts appears to be killed in a fight. But they take him to Miracle Max's house, where Miracle Max declares him to be not dead, just mostly dead. And when you're mostly dead, they can do something about that. So we have a chair here that is mostly broken. Right here, where the seat frame pieces meet the rear leg, there's a crack. There's another crack, a little worse on this side, but neither one of them is completely broken. They're just mostly broken. Now this chair is made in the most traditional manner possible. There's a mortise and tenon joint here and one here as well, which means that 1/3 of the wood of this chair leg has been cut away. And you can see here the peg that's holding the tenon in place. Now, of course, this makes an inherently weak joint, which for a small, delicate chair like this, you can tolerate it. Obviously, it lasted quite a long time. Just by judging the construction of the chair, it could easily be 200 years old, maybe 150. Hard to say. The first order of business is to take it from mostly broken to completely broken. And there we have completely broken. With it pulled apart, we can see the root cause of this damage. This piece here is the tenon. It's part of the back seat rail. This piece here is the tenon that's part of the side rail, and it fits into a slot or a mortise cut into the back leg, which takes 1/3 of the wood away. And you know, it's a natural weak spot, and you end up with it breaking. On the other corner, the damage is a good bit worse, and we can see there's actually insect damage from powder post beetles that have gotten in here. And this may be the real cause of it all, whereas this one was weak and broke, put too much stress on the other side, and so ends up with both of them breaking. Now, the immediate question is, how do you fix something like this? One solution would be to go ahead and make 2 new chair legs, knock all these parts here loose, take the entire chair, disassemble it, which could be done. Our wooden pegs in here, they would have to be drilled out rather than try and break them. And make 2 new back legs. Probably have to make a back rail here because that's been eaten by the bugs. I imagine that would probably cost about $2,000, maybe. Not a practical solution in today's chair market. We're going to use a technique familiar to anybody who's broken their arm so bad that it couldn't be healed with just a cast and a sling. We're going to put a steel pin in here, not quite this long, but going to drill a hole all the way down into the leg to where we hope there's some nice solid wood. There'll be another hole in the chair back going up, and a pin, about like that, is going to hold it all together. This will all be put back in place with the right kind of glue, and that should be strong enough to hold this chair through normal use as a chair for quite some time to come. Now this operation leaves us with a hole for a 7-inch pin to go down in each leg. The hole is drilled out 1/2 inch. The pin is 3/8, which is so don't have to have a perfect match between the top and the bottom, which frankly is impossible. So when we put this back together, our plan is to fill this hole with epoxy, put this steel pin in it, let that epoxy set, get it nice and solid, and then we'll put the chair back on top of it and try to get this as tight and clean a joint as we possibly can, and depend on these steel pins going down into the leg and up into the top of the chair back to keep this chair together so people can sit in it again without worrying about getting dropped on the floor. Okay, now I managed to mix just the right amount so it fills up the hole in the bottom without overflowing. I had to put off videoing for about 4 or 5 days because it was more difficult to get slow cure epoxy than I thought it would be. The volume of epoxy I'm going to need is just a little bit more than I'm comfortable with mixing up the stuff that starts to set up in 5 minutes. I want to be able to get this chair in the exact right position, apply the epoxy, and then get it clamped before it actually sets up. Because the angle where this chair, where the back is going to sit, is really critical to how it functions as a chair and how it looks. I've got a clamping jig, which we're going to put in place right here, and that will allow me to hold the seat back in the absolute perfect position while the epoxy cures, and then that's the way it's going to stay. One of my favorite YouTube channels from Louis Cezad is Tips from a Shipwright. And he does a lot of work with epoxy. And his advice is mix it until you think you've mixed it enough, and then mix it some more. I'm mixing this small amount about a full minute before I pour it. This is the really stressful part of the project. I'm trying to pour enough epoxy down these holes so that it will fill up and squirt out just a little bit when I put it in place, but not so much that it pours out all over the floor. Now I'll wipe up all the uncured ooze out with denatured alcohol. And I believe I've got it clamped into a position it's supposed to be. The diagonal from the chair back top to the front corner is the same on both sides, and that's really about the best geometry you can hope for. So now I'm just going to watch it for the next 20 minutes or so to see if there's any more drips. And after that, this epoxy is supposed to reach its full strength in 24 hours, and it's Saturday afternoon, so it's going to be Monday before I worry about it. Well, the repair feels plenty strong. No flexing, no ominous creaking or weird noises like that. On this side, got pretty close. There's always tiny chips on the edge that break away, so getting a repair on a crack like that, any closer than that, pretty rare. I'm going to have to say this came out pretty nice. I'm trying to decide whether or not to fill this. The owner of the chair has said that he's going to do all the touching up work, so I think I will leave that alone. So this is Bronze Age, Director of the Secret Underground Laboratory Recovery and Salvage, and as usual, I thank you for sticking this long with this video. Really would appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe. Comments are always welcome. I read every comment and I respond to all of them. So if you have any questions about any kind of furniture repair in general, this one specifically, I'll be happy to answer them. So again, thank you very much.